Wah, I appreciate the follow there, Hunting Packers, if I'm saying that correctly here. I need to switch layouts to get things properly underway here. I gotta set the right game capture. This is the first time I've streamed this game since Fragapalooza. And wanna know what's really weird? After plugging in all my monitors and stuff here and getting like my setup set up again back home, it would appear that the standard monitor that it chose is my TV screen back there that I read chat from, is what the game is now open on. That is not the screen I want to play this game on. I need to look past this monitor a little bit. Hopefully the display settings are easy to to tinker around with without having to like look over this monitor that's in front of most of this TV. Give me a hot second here. Bear with me. Hopefully my computer doesn't lag too much. This is the second stream that I've done since getting back from Fragapalooza. The first one was a little smidge of Elden Ring Night Rain, when an opportunity came up to do some multiplayer with that. And that game was lagging badly. Some sort of weird, like, post-Fragapalooza curse or something. I don't know. Screen? Yes, my primary, please. How do I confirm? Guess I'll look over at OBS. Is there a confirm button? Square. I'll just bash my cap against the microphone there. Yes. Yes. Yes, please. Yes, sounds good. So, we'll see if this is lagging. Well, it's my first Assassin's Creed Valhalla stream since Fragapalooza. It is currently August 21st. It's actually been a little smidge since Fragapalooza, considering that was August 7th to 10th. So it's been 11 days since the end of the event and me streaming / recording the closing ceremonies there. And realizing after Fragapalooza that my audio quality sucked for the whole event, and I am extremely embarrassed about that, and learning experience for future years, because I, on Fragapalooza day 0 there, the setup day, I did take time to, like, test, make sure that it was picking me up from close and afar, to make sure that further away stuff wasn't getting cut off, but also listening to my voice through my headphones being played back to me to make sure it didn't sound like crap, and I didn't think it sounded like crap, but then when I took time after the fact to re-listen to the Fragapalooza content, oh my goodness, it sounded like an emergency broadcast from Mars, my mic quality. At least, like, the games that I was playing, the game audio sounded just fine. But my mic quality, it sounded really, really bad. And even when I was hopping onto Elden Ring Night Rain there with my little cousin, when we first hopped onto Discord voice call, he was like, did you accidentally change to your camera microphone? Why is it so bad? Because I still had, like, my same settings, and it was like, oh, crap. Yeah, so the whole Fragapalooza 2025 content ended up being 130 parts worth of content, essentially. Like, a little bit of duplicate with the Smash tournaments having, like, a full tournament than each of the individual sets, but, you know, basically 130 there. The new most I've had for a LAN event. And the quality is garbage because my mic quality sucks. So, yeah, there's that. Oh, yeah, I can go after this guy. Assassinate the Liar. This is, yeah. Assassinate the Liar. He can be found in the marketplace or playing music on stage in Grantbridgeshire. Magister Tatfrid the Liar. Tatfrid joined the order almost by accident. A Saxon who fought with the Norse, he led a successful raid in Wessex, during which he spared the life of 3 prisoners. One of those was the Crozier, who soon recruited Tatfrid for his fighting skills and absolute determination. By dint of effort and will, the Liar recently rose to the rank of Magister. Alright, well, where the heck is this jerk? Oh, right here. I see. So I may as well just, like, run from here, right? Or something. So, yeah, whoops. I want to sincerely apologize for the quality of the Fragapalooza 2025 content. I am quite embarrassed about that, and whenever I think of the Fragapalooza 2025 stuff, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that was the year I screwed up the audio badly for the full 4, technically 5 days there. Didn't fix it. Gosh dang it. So, yeah, well, there's guys, there's wildlife, there's all sorts of stuff around here. And before the Fragapalooza stuff, I was talking about what potential future games upcoming here would look like potentially starting Xenosaga, and I got it all at the ready, so I can start it whenever here. Because I figured, like, hey, I might want to have something outside of Assassin's Creed Valhalla to play during the month of August. Well, a bunch of Everdarks are coming out for Elden Ring Night Rain, so that game's probably going to keep me busy for a little while. And I only did like one brief stream of that since Fragapalooza. This is my second stream since Fragapalooza. And like I said before, it's the 21st already. So here I was thinking like, oh, I'll have a decent bit of time during August. I want to have a game to be able to actively play during that point. This is a perfect time to start Xenosaga. No. Turns out it was not a good idea. I haven't started it, and I probably won't start for a while because I realize that now isn't a great time. I'm going to be away out of town for this weekend. My dad and Finn and I are going to BC this weekend on a bit of a fishing trip. So that should be interesting there. Is this dude just like in here? Is he on the other side? Oh, hi. Stabby stab! No fancy animation that time? Okay, well, let's see the cutscene here that I never really pay attention to, but
when Scops mention me, they will sing of my conquests.
Cowards do not get sagas.
I am no coward. In a long-lost battle for Wessex, I was the victor. The Scot could speak of that time. Focus on my lost honor.
No, I'll leave your reputation as it is. Here, in the blood-blackened mud.
I already forgotten his name. Let's blend in. I'm really blending like this. Amazing. Oh yeah, I need to look at the runes and stuff at some point here. Was I working towards something in the skill tree here? I was going this way. For battlefield cremation? Yeah, sure, I guess I'll snag that. If that's what I was going for here. Sure. Alright, well, order. We've got just a handful of guys. I figured this stream I'll finish off the guys here, and then that's all done. And then I just have, like, the Asgard and Jotunheim stuff. Let's see. That one page had or that one YouTube video here. So I'm looking for number 28 on the video here. So, number 28. Fixed location, Gloucestershire. So, wait, do I not even need to go get hints or anything then? I can just go there and kill? It doesn't say anything about hints on this one. Where the heck is Gloucestershire? Hold on, give me a hot second here. Oh. Gloucester? Gloucester, or whatever the heck here. In Gloucestershire, or whatever the heck. And they marked, like, here-ish or something? On the video? Apparently that's a dock that I haven't unlocked. No, it's a little bit further in then. It's nice to use controller again and not mouse and keyboard like before. Anyway. I've been really busy with Fragapalooza editing stuff. Usually it takes me, like, the better part of a week after an event like that to get everything edited and sorted out. The fact that I was having as many technical difficulties as I was on the first couple days definitely contributed to this taking a little bit longer. Since it was literally only earlier today that I've now wrapped up all the stuff I needed to do with the Fragapalooza 2025 playlist. And another factor was just the fact that Finn's here. We're doing stuffs. We're going out doing different things like going to retro game stores and getting all sorts of classic games. Like, look, I picked up a copy of Final Fantasy VII. Isn't that cool? So, I'm spending my days going out doing a bunch of things like this. Or, like, last week, I was gone for, like, basically the entire week. Out at the family's lake cabin, out to a different lake that we were camping out at, back to the family's lake cabin, then back to the city here. So I was basically gone for a week here. I left my computer on and had remote software open on it so I could remote into my desktop here and get a little bit done while I was at the lake cabin there. Of course, while we were camping, I couldn't exactly be making any progress, and can't be making progress as fast as like being at my desktop here with my multiple monitors and stuff. Pretty slow going remoting in from the very basic Wi-Fi out there. Here, look, is there a guy here or something? So it took me a while to get through editing this stuff. So time and evenings that I might have had for like streaming has instead been editing all the Fragapalooza stuff. So I haven't had time to hop into much game stuff. And now that it's the 21st here, as I can show here, we have some new releases coming up. Because 1 week from now, on Thursday, is the release of Metal Gear Solid Delta as well as the Switch 2 expansion thingamajig DLC, whatever the heck, for Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the Star-Crossed Worlds thingamajig. So I basically have 2 new things coming out 1 week from now, and I'm gonna be gone this whole weekend in BC here. And then, like, wrapping up the final stuff that I'd be doing with Finn before he leaves to go back home on the 29th here. So, that whole idea of starting Xenosaga in August and having that as, like, my August game and then chip away a little bit at it in September? Yeah, no. I'm realizing now that that is not gonna work out there, and I'll get around to Xenosaga one of these days, but not now. So, I'll keep on chipping away at Night Rain, keep on chipping away at Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I do have a sort of deadline for Valhalla as well for main game, I'm realizing. Because if I want to do the next DLC, the Siege of Paris, at Hallowland, which is like towards the end of October, I've heard that Wrath of the Druids is pretty standalone, but apparently the Siege of Paris has like more references to the events of the main game, so it's best to beat the main game first. Which means I do need to kill all these Aura members that I think I'll just do tonight. And do the Asgard and Jotunheim stuff before, and then like finish the game and however long that is before the end of October here. So I do have a semi-deadline here, and maybe I have to hurry it up a little bit. I don't know how long Asgard and Jotunheim is going to be, honestly. So I gotta hurry that up. I do still kind of want to do Bloodborne's DLC and finishing it off at Hallowland, since that's very fitting with the themes there. Which means I do gotta start Bloodborne coming up. And I was talking about doing it like earlier in the month of August and having that as like, started at Fragapalooza and then finish it at Hallowland. I probably could have done that after all, considering I was busy for so much of August. But at this point, I may as well just commit to this and Elden Ring Night Rain until the release of Metal Gear Solid Delta and Kirby the Star-Crossed, whatever the hell. And then try to get on top of those, see kind of where I'm at, and then start getting into Bloodborne a bit in September, leading into October. And then in October, things are coming out in October, is the thing. So I'm gonna have to get this Metal Gear Solid, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Assassin's Creed Valhalla main game here, and the Elden Ring Night Rain's Everdark bosses, get as on top of that as I can during the month of September. Because October is going to be like Ghost of Yotei, that's going to take a lot of my time. Pokemon Legends ZA, and I'll take a decent bit of my time, especially if I do end up doing a video essay on it after the fact. I was reading a comment from my little notification bell here earlier today of someone saying they were really looking forward to the Legends ZA essay, and I was like, oh well, I guess I'll probably do one here. For that guy specifically, no, maybe I'll do this. It depends on how much new content is in that. And then, yeah, October 24th to 26th is Hallowland there. And then not too long after is going to be Extra Life 2025. So we have 2 LAN events, like semi-back-to-back, just a couple weeks apart. So there's going to be that. So yeah, October is going to get a little bit crazy, considering it's so many things, like, back-to-back on Thursdays. Because it's like, Ghost of Yotei, 2 weeks later, Pokemon Legends ZA, the remaster of Plants vs. Zombies if I decide to play it. Yeah, we have a solid release date for PvZ there for the remaster that they announced in like the Switch 2 Partner Direct, was it? They announced it like a week or 2 ago in a Partner Direct, and there was a release date for it. And apparently the original artist that I forgot the name of and the original composer Laura Shigihara weren't brought on for this project at all, which is kind of sucky. But I don't know, I'll have a look and see if it seems like there's anything interesting going on there. So yeah, I want to get on top of the upcoming stuff here during September as best I can. So, oh yeah, I was looking at where the heck the person that I needed to kill was. So, yeah, I might have, he's just in this building apparently. So, I'm gonna have my hands full with a decent few games here in September and try to get as on top of those as I can. New fast travel. So can I just kill you? I don't need hints to know that you're killable, do I? Well, I mean, ow. Okay. Still have a 100% to the original PvZ? Well, there might not be much point in doing so anymore. Also, things are going well today, Aurora Master. I'm getting warm here. Considering the remaster's coming out with just, like, more content and more things to do. But at the same time, you can get the original PvZ on Steam for, what, like $3 or something like that? Whereas I was looking on Steam for this new one, Replans It, and apparently it's like $30 Canadian, meanwhile. So maybe that'd be like $22, $20 USD, or something like that. So there is a significant price difference. And I imagine the only reason it exists is because EA just wants to make more money off of PVZ here.
Do you give them to your children?
So,
I would not let good food go to waste.
I would let my children starve.
so it's definitely a big
A serpent's gift
price increase for a pretty
always
old game.
in malice.
That's always
Sweet
been
from
just a
evil
few
remains
dollars.
Sweet, even if it crumbles.
Probably more, well, not always on PC, I guess. But always in one form or another, considering you could download the app for like $1 or $2 back when. With the original game. There, I killed another Order member. Boop. There we go. Alright, well, what's going on here? I'm gonna have to find some more clues and stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of what's going on for game stuff coming up here. Let's see. My flight is gonna be early tomorrow. I gotta wake up at like 5. It's currently 8:51 p.m. local time. And I'm gonna wake up at like 5, be out the door at like 6. So is it really a good idea to stream tonight? Nope. Not remotely, not even close to a good idea. But here I am doing it anyway. If I need to catch some winks on the flight, I can catch some winks on the flight. I think it's here they marked? Yeah, it was there that they marked. It was right next to the quarry. That's where I go for the next person's hint here. Game of the Year edition for OGPVZ is $4.99. Replanted is $20. Okay, so yeah, 20 USD or $30 Canadian here. Like, I know our dollar's not worth as much, but it's not like it's worth that much less than USD. I think a direct translation would probably be somewhere like $27 or something like that. I didn't want to jump here because there's literally a tree right there. Okay, well. Okay, well, someone who was designing this world put a tree literally inside this leap of faith point. So you literally jump through the tree to... Okay. Well. But yeah, so definitely a bit of a price increase, especially for us Canadians, because they don't like Canada, I guess. I'm holding the wrong button for Eagle Vision there. Oh, these are just arrows. So, Mr. Dudo in the video marked somewhere over here. Might be in the tower itself or something or other, I don't know. I can just look at the video and see where the heck they go. They go in the tower through a window. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I might have my hands full coming up here. And for a little bit of a retrospective on the Fragapalooza stuff, I'm sure I mentioned a lot of this stuff during the actual Fragapalooza content. But in terms of how the event just went overall here, we managed to get everything sorted out, got all the tournaments through, finished with, without too much trouble, but there was a decent little smidge of trouble. The first big hiccup was the fact that this year we wanted to have a standing monitor in front of the stage, which honestly was great, so that players can actually play on something that doesn't break their neck looking up at the big projector screen, and so that they have a low latency option, because the projector is a decent few frames behind. So you play with the stage, and it's not the most ideal gaming experience. So having a standing monitor was a fantastic idea, and I really appreciate the Frag staff that made some magic happen to get a standing monitor there. But the first standing monitor was completely shattered, as it turned out. I think this is one of the things that I sent to myself in the, yeah, I was just sending myself, like, all the Fragapalooza photos from the event here, and this Discord server that I used to literally just send myself stuff across devices. Let's see here. So it looked fine when it was taken out of the casing and everything, and, you know, we got set up and on the stand and plugged in, and the moment it was plugged in, it's like, oh, turns out it's completely shattered. And it didn't seem like there was any one person to blame. When they put it back in the case, like it was really tight, so it probably just broke in transport because the way that it was designed with the case seemed really poor and like it was really quite cramped in there. So that didn't quite work out there. And then they ended up getting a new standing monitor, so literally taking out of the casing for the brand new box and casing there for the standing monitor that my tournaments used. So I got to use a brand new TV. It was really quite nice there. Collect. There we go. Now we know who the dart is. Wow. Assassinate the dart. Can be found at Quatford Stables in eastern Scaropeshire. Palatinus Tata, the dart. Tata claims he sprang from the soil of Mercia. Such is his love for the land. All his youth he rode the vales of Scaropeshire, Oxenfordshire, and Leicestershire. His grandfather had fought for old King Offa, and the tales have been passed down. A wise, thoughtful man, Tata learned all he could of Offa, including the fact that the old king had been in the order. Therefore, Tata himself sought entry and quickly rose to the rank of Palatinus. He is a stable master and took the name of the Dart, as befits his penetrating wisdom. Alright, let's go kill him so hard we blow his tatas off. He's over here, apparently, so I'm gonna mark that, I'm gonna fast travel over here. So that was the first hiccup. And the second big hiccup was the whole console situation, where we wanted to have 3 stations. I wanted to have one on the stage, and then, like, 2 nearby the stage on that little side area there. And I brought 3 consoles for that. I brought my Switch 2, my Switch 1, and my cousin's Switch 1. Do I have 2 things marked here? Did I forget to unmark a thing? What's this other thing that I marked? Oh, that, apparently. And we each had a copy of Smash, so I just would have to borrow one person's copy of Smash there. So I was going to borrow Cernal's copy of Smash. A name that you might see around the stream here sometimes. And then we're good, is what I thought. And then, lo and behold, Nintendo Virtual Game Cards being like, you can only have the Smash DLC on one of your consoles at once. So, either my Switch 1 or my Switch 2. You can't have it on both simultaneously. So I thought I'd big brain play the system by having the DLC at the ready on my Switch 1, disconnecting it from the internet, and then, because I figured something like that might come up. So I did that preemptively before the tournament started. And then, while I'm at the venue connected to the internet, I could have my Switch 2 get the DLC. Turns out it didn't work like that. My Switch 1 needed to be connected to the internet so that when my Switch 2 has the DLC at the ready, it sends a signal to the Switch 1 to say, hey, make it so that the DLC content isn't playable on this console anymore. Even though, like, I'm logged into the same account, which has purchased the Smash DLC, I can play it on either console, just not simultaneously. As Nintendo giving a specific fuck you to tournament organizers, I guess. I don't know. Because otherwise, what person would realistically be playing, like, the Smash DLC on both their Switch 2 and Switch 1 at the same time? So, my options were to either... Oh, you took out your blade a little bit early there, man. Either continue with the tournament as is and just have one console that doesn't have the DLC characters and stages, so one of the stages for the tournament isn't even available, Apollo Bastion. If people play DLC characters, they just can't if they play at that station. It sucks to suck for them. And I could tell people, like, hey, if you play DLC characters, then let me know and we'll have you play at a different station. But I feel like people would just play at that station anyway and just be like, oh, that sucks, I can't play the DLC characters. And what if they figured they're not going to play DLC characters at first, but then, like, after the first game, they want to counterpick to DLC characters, and they can't, so I didn't want to do that. So, there we go, there was that. So, I ended up having to go to Squidletics, the person whose setup I used last year, for an additional station, and asked if I could borrow his Switch there, and he gave me his Switch 2 to use in the tournament, and while I greatly appreciate that, I shouldn't have needed to rely on that for 2 years in a row. So, you know, at least he won the Smash tournaments, and then I awarded him his Switch back as a special prize. Special prize for winning the tournament. The Switch 2 on that table over there, when it's his Switch. Meanwhile, my little cousin isn't allowed to get his Switch back because he didn't win. What do we have next here? We're almost there. The ADZ. So yeah, that was the decent big hiccups with the Smash tournaments there. I can show the Fragapalooza playlist now that's done. Especially since, like, anybody just looking at my channel as is won't be able to see the full completed playlist yet. It'll show a bunch of, like, private videos is what it fills it. But they're private to me, so I can see them. So, Fragapalooza this year had, like, an opener and a closer video, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna add those, like, before the event stuff here. That seems kind of cool. Have, like, the opener video at the beginning and the closer video at the end. So, Day 0 started like this, being the setup day. It was the first time that I was there for setup stuff ahead of time. So I tested out the audio to make sure it was sounding good. Again, I misheard. I didn't realize my audio quality was crap. I have this entire Crisis Core playthrough with terrible audio quality. Oops! I'm really sorry about that. Day 1 started. I did some Mario Kart stuff with Finn. Then I played a whole bunch of Crisis Core here. Meanwhile, my stream kept dying. If you want to see how much my stream was dying, look at the VODs playlist here. Let's see. Let me go ahead and copy this from one of the descriptions here. It looks very different for the Uncut VODs playlist. So, here's a bunch of stuff with Day 0, because, like, I was turning stuff on and off, and there was a whole bunch of testing that just isn't in this playlist here because I'm getting things set up. And then look at this. 6 minutes, 12 seconds, 54 seconds, 41 seconds, 38 seconds, 18 seconds. Yeah. I was going for a while there, and it started dying a little bit again. I would go for like a few minutes, and then it would keep on dying. Yeah, and then we were pretty good. Then things kept on going, and we have like these long parts here, which is what I'd like to have in these kinds of playlists. It's just a whole bunch of long stuff here. But day one, it's just all this crap. So yeah, this part right here is like, what, how many streams stitched together? Well, I guess not stitched together because I started recording, so I just have like the recording part. I didn't have to stitch anything together there. But yeah, so there was that. Did a whole bunch of that. Did the doubles tournament. There was a nice photo taken of us playing in the doubles tournament there, so I made that the thumbnail. Unfortunately, there was no good like photos taken by the person that was going around taking photos for Squad Strike and the free-for-alls, so I just had to like zoom in on the player cam for thumbnails on those. These take a little while. I have a project like set up for this from previous events. I had this set up before I even was doing Fragapalooza stuff. I had this kind of thumbnail project set up in my graphic design software for VGLS stuff back when. And so I went through all the sets, see all the characters and alts that people play and use, and slap them all on the thumbnail and stuff like that. The AG just takes up as much space as it takes up. Started doing the Wrath of the Druids thingamabob here. Did a bunch more Final Fantasy VII. Played a little bit of Night Rain with Finn just for fun there. Did this with like the never-ending cutscene right before the free-for-alls happened, and then we did the free-for-all tournament. So this looks super grainy because this is literally just zoomed in on like the player cam on my layout, because I want to get a good thumbnail shot of 8 people playing at once there. There's the standing monitor that isn't shattered. And then I did a format like that, because I'm not going to put all the characters on the layout in like a clear this versus that side kind of thing. That doesn't really apply to free-for-alls here. Maybe I'll come up with a cool thumbnail format for free-for-alls one day. And we went right into the Mario Kart tournament. So I did a format like this. I only came up with it like less than a week ago here when I was working on all this stuff. I don't know if I'm 100% satisfied with this like thumbnail format, but I mean, it's passable. Gets the job done well enough here. From there, we went into Double Dash and played that a little bit right after the Mario Kart World stuff. Then Finn and I chilled out doing our own thing for a little while there, so I went back into some more Crisis Core. Then I started playing with my little cousin and his friend. Did some more Wrath of the Druid stuff there, and then some more Crisis Core back and forth, and then went back to this again. And then that was the singles tournament, so I just wrapped up this stuff earlier today. I just published this earlier today. You can tell it's loading when we go past the 100 video mark. From there, we did the Mario Party stuff. We played a little bit of Kirby Air Ride. Kirby Air Riders actually just got a direct recently, and it looks pretty cool. And now I have a idea of what the original was like. Then I beat Crisis Core. It took me a little bit longer than the ending, a little smidge of Crisis Core there, but I beat Valhalla. And then it's like, hey, the stuff that I set out to do is done. What do I do with this remaining time? Did a little bit of extra content in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Tried once again to get a world record in this and failed, and I could have kept attempting, but I was like, I don't feel like it. Played some Mario Strikers and the latest one with Finn here, so we did a decent bit of that together. I was bored. I didn't know what I had energy for. I didn't think I had energy enough for this. I was like, you know what, let's do a little bit of Xenoblade X. Then Finn and I played a little bit of Mario Party Jamboree together, and then things were closing out, and that's when I was like, alright, well, I need something to do here that I can just kind of keep playing while letting the background show, like, letting the camera show what's going on in the background and stuff here. Let's just go around killing guys that I need to kill in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that's what brought us up to here. And that was the end of Fragapalooza, and then I put the closing video in there. So this is what I've been working on for the past several weeks, on and off, because again, I've been away. So my progress on this has been really slow, considering like immediately after Fragapalooza, I was gone for like this whole week. So I was chipping away at stuff here where I could. I did what I could on Monday there, and then I was gone for like this week. I got back on Monday here, or Sunday or something like that. And then I've just been going ham like the past several days to get this done over an ungodly amount of hours. So I got it done, and it's like, hey, now if I want to work on some content creation stuff, I can like actually stream and play video games and have fun and stuff, instead of throwing my head at cutting things up and making thumbnails and finding the right order for the players and stuff and characters and all that stuff that I was doing. I have to win a drinking mini game in Leicester for this next person, apparently. Okay, I guess that's what I'm doing. So it's right around the central area. So apparently this, I need to win the drinking game to get the clue. So yeah, that's been what my past while has been here when it comes to working on stuffs around here. When I went around to like all the different retro game stores around the city and area with Finn, I could show you the different things I got here in general. So the coolest thing that I got was definitely Final Fantasy VII, which I just wrapped up a playthrough of not that long ago. And I kind of hated the PC version because it didn't show my like the buttons properly. It would say like start, switch, back button instead of the actual PlayStation buttons, even though it was a PlayStation game. So you'd think when I plugged in a PlayStation controller to my PC that it would show the buttons like the original would, because it would recognize that I had a PlayStation controller plugged in, but whatever. So, you know, if only I had played on actual this, or I just picked up like the Switch version or something like that. But it would have been kind of fun to like, what would have been fun to switch around like the discs when it's like, you are now done with disc 1, put in disc 2. So, now I have my original copy of Final Fantasy VII here. So that's kind of fun. I picked up another Final Fantasy game because it was cheap here. After I played Final Fantasy 16, I figure, I don't know if I'll ever play this. After I'm done with the whole 7 series, I'll probably play 10 next. After that, if I ever feel like it, I have Final Fantasy 15 now, because it was $15, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cheap, let's pick it up and add it to my shelf. You know, that's a pretty good price there. After playing through the Sly Cooper games as a kid, like that very much being a big part of my childhood, and then playing Ghost of Tsushima earlier this year and really liking it, and of course picking up Ghost of Yotai later this year since I've already pre-ordered it and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really quite a big fan of Sucker Punch as a studio. I've never played any of the Infamous games, I don't know much about them. I found Infamous Second Son for $10, so I was like, okay, I'll pick that up, that sounds pretty alright. And one cool one that I found that I wouldn't have minded finding a copy for a decent price for PS2. All the PS2 copies I found are pretty expensive. But I found for $20 a copy of Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, so like the enhanced later released version, since I have a original Xbox now after my neighbor moved away a couple of years ago and sold me his Xbox and all his games for $50. So that was not half bad there. I was eyeing a few copies of Metal Gear Solid 3, but they were some of them were a little bit up there as well. I do also own the original Metal Gear games up to 3, considering I have like the whole Master Collection on the Switch, so it's not that important to get these original ones. I saw a decent few copies of Metal Gear Solid 3 around, and they would either be a decent bit more pricey, or they'd... that's not how I start the minigame, is it? Whoops. That wasn't rude of me to do, was it? Speak.
Is that a bottomless stomach?
But the enhanced versions of Metal Gear Solid 3 would be like $60 or $70, and if I ever pick it up, I'd want to pick up the enhanced one. And I was like, oh, let's not do that. But the enhanced later release version of Metal Gear Solid 2 for $20, I'll pick that up.
Let's sweeten the pot.
So, big bet.
Now that's a prize.
Yep, sure is, man.
We drink.
We drink. All right. Okay, I've become not half bad at this minigame now. Let's see it here. When it was the beginning of the game, I thought that this minigame would be completely optional. But turns out there's a few places in the game where I've had to do it. Yeah, my strategy of don't hit it immediately. Give it a little bit of time so that the next one doesn't come too much sooner. I guess it doesn't matter too much of that phase, but like... yeah, give it a second and then hit it. Easy peasy, man. Glug, glug, glug. The glass I'm drinking from and the icon on the right are not the same, are they? I'm spilling so much. I'm just like Bentley in the lemonade drinking minigame of Sly 3. Drinking challenge, you won. Note 1 at drinking contest. So there's not even any cutscenes with it of like someone sliding you a note. It's just go participate in a random drinking contest around the world, and then when it's complete, you just have added to your inventory the hint. Ooh, how immersive here. Okay, I need to get another clue. Gosh dang it, man. Let's see.